Hello everyone, this is Seema Chalani from KYMS Academy. Today's session is on Para Jumbles. But before I start this session today, let me share my personal experience with you. You know, when I was in your shoes, even I had a fear of solving Para Jumbles. But then I did not give it up. I just keep practicing, and through practice and applying different techniques, I could master it. So today in this session, I am going to share the same techniques with you so that it becomes a cakewalk for you as well. So let's start. The artistry of narrative is not in the pieces themselves, but in the solution to how they interlock. So don't you think कि आज का हमारा जो ये कोट है वो हमारे सेशन से आज बहुत अच्छा डेवलप करेगा? The reason is आज हम यही करने वाले हैं that we are going to bring these scattered sentences together into a meaningful and coherent paragraph. Okay, so let us begin with the techniques of para jumbles. Okay, so before starting techniques of para jumbles, मैं थोड़ा सा आपको गाइड कर देती हूँ. Now, basically para jumbles एक पैराग्राफ होता है जिसके सेंटेंसेस होते हैं, those are jumbled up, those are not in order. तो हमें उसको rearrange करना पड़ता है into a meaningful and coherent paragraph. In CAT, para jumbles are basically theta questions. Now, what are theta questions? Theta questions means type in the answer. It means these are non-MCQs. जैसे आप जब कोई भी दूसरा एग्जाम देते हैं तो वहां पर आपके पास ऑप्शंस वगैरह होते हैं PQ, RS, RS, PQ, तो वो कंपैरेटिवली थोड़े से इजी होते हैं रादर देन सॉल्विंग दीज नॉन MCQs. तो यहाँ पर आपके पास ऑप्शंस नहीं होते, यू जस्ट हैव टू फ्रेम योर ओन सीक्वेंस. तो इस वजह से थोड़ा सा ये ट्रिकी हो जाता है, बट डू नॉट स्वेट, क्योंकि हमारे पास इतनी ब्यूटीफुल टेक्निक्स है जो डेफिनेटली आपको हेल्प करेगी टू एस पैरा जम्बल्स. मैं आपको एक और चीज यहाँ पर बता देती हूँ कि 2024 में एक्चुअली पैरा जम्बल्स के क्वेश्चंस नहीं थे, बट देयर वर क्वेश्चंस ऑन ऑड वन आउट. ऑड वन आउट पैरा जम्बल्स का ही पार्ट होता है. द ओनली डिफरेंस इज कि पैरा जम्बल्स में वी हैव टू मेक द एंटायर सीक्वेंस, और ऑड वन आउट में यू डू नॉट हैव टू मेक द सीक्वेंस, यू जस्ट हैव टू गो फॉर द सेंटेंस व्हिच इज नॉट द पार्ट ऑफ द पैराग्राफ. व्हेन यू स्टार्ट सॉल्विंग पैरा जम्बल्स, यू नीड टू फोकस ऑन 2-3 things. First, obviously, it is reading. Beta, you just have to keep into your mind this thing that your para jumble or maybe your para summary will fall flat if you are not good at reading. So I think reading is the panacea. Second is you have to find out the tone of the paragraph. ऑथर का टोन क्या है, उसने किस एटीट्यूड से पैराग्राफ को लिखा है, ये हमें समझना बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होता है. थर्ड इज when you start solving para jumble, you have to look for the opening statement. Opening statement here, I would say that you have to look for the subject the author is talking about. Here subject can be a noun. Okay, और अगर उसने noun से start नहीं भी किया है in case, तो might be possible that he can also give the start with some question. तो वो question से भी start कर सकता है. And for that, you really need to see कि basically author हमें बोलना क्या चाह रहा है, right? So reading, find out the tone, and then go for the opening statement. बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि opening statement हमें बहुत easily मिल जाता है, but in many cases, students starting statement को नहीं locate कर पाते हैं. तो वापस से आप वहां पर उसको बिल्कुल give up मत कीजिएगा. Then here comes the role of mandatory pairs. तो if you do not get the introductory sentence, always start making the mandatory pairs. Mandatory pairs का meaning होता है, say if D is any sentence. So after reading all the sentences, I can locate this thing that after D it has to be E. तो मतलब मैं यहाँ पर sure हो जाऊंगी कि D मेरा pair है. But I'm not saying that D is my first statement, but at least I can work on pairs, right? So now जब आपको mandatory pair बनाना पड़ता है, तो उसके लिए here are certain techniques जो हम discuss करेंगे, and trust me, these techniques are going to work wonders for you. Okay, तो first technique जो मैं यहाँ पर लेने जा रही हूँ, that is transition word. Okay. Now, what are transition words? Transition words are basically, these are the contrasting words. Contrasting words here, I can say but, though, although. It can be despite, yet, still. तो बेटा ट्रांजिशन वर्ड मतलब कंट्रास्टिंग वर्ड्स. कंट्रास्ट मीन्स वन पॉजिटिव वन नेगेटिव. इट मीन्स द मोमेंट यू कम अक्रॉस एनी ट्रांजिशन वर्ड इट सजेस्ट यू द चेंज ऑफ टोन. तो ये हमें ऑथर की टोन को बताता है कि उसका टोन चेंज हो चुका है. मान लीजिए अगर वो पहले पॉजिटिव था तो अब वो नेगेटिव में आ चुका है, नेगेटिव था तो वो पॉजिटिव में जा चुका है. तो these transition words definitely they are going to help you a lot in making the mandatory pair. Next is chronology order. Now what do you understand by chronology? Chronology हमें टाइम को बताता है, वो भी पास्ट टाइम को बताता है. मैं आपको बहुत ही सिंपल एग्जांपल दे रही हूँ with only the years. Now suppose अगर आपके पास 4 सेंटेंस है and they have given you in one sentence 1981, 2001, it can be 2005. Though I am writing only the years as of now, but exam में अगर big sentences भी होंगे तो it will be easy for you to locate such things also. तो आप देख सकते हैं 1981, 2001 and 2005. So obviously I am going to take 1981 first, okay, then 2001 and then 2005. तो इस तरह से हमको यहाँ पर टाइम को मेंटेन करना पड़ता है, उस हिसाब से हम सीक्वेंस भी बना सकते हैं. Alright. Next is demonstrative pronoun. Now demonstrative pronouns are only 4. This, that, these and those. This or that means singular. Okay, and the plural of this is these and the plural of that is those. So again, if you are reading all the sentences and in one of the sentences this is coming, तो आपको लगता है कि this हमारा first statement हो सकता है? Of course not, क्योंकि this डिमॉन्स्ट्रेट कर रहा है किसी पर्टिकुलर नाउन के लिए. इसका मतलब अ सेंटेंस शुड बी देयर प्रीसीडिंग दिस पर्टिकुलर सेंटेंस. जो हमको हो सकता है वो नाउन बताएं. इट कैन बी एनी सब्जेक्ट द ऑथर इज टॉकिंग अबाउट. तो अगर नाउन है, सब्जेक्ट है एंड दिस इज बीइंग यूज्ड फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर नाउन, अगेन दिस इज गोइंग टू बी माय पेयर. तो डेमोंस्ट्रेटिव प्रोनाउन भी बहुत केसेस में आपको डेफिनेटली हेल्प करते हैं. Now, what are personal pronouns? Personal pronouns are I, you, she, he, they, it. Again, it is very clear from these words that if I'm talking about she, so she means it can be any girl, it can be any woman. तो वो name definitely उसके पहले होना चाहिए, because I cannot start any paragraph with she. But exceptional cases are always there. हमने एग्जाम में एक दो पैरा जम्बल्स ऐसे देखे हैं जहां पर बिगनिंग उसने शी से करी है, बट नेम वॉज नॉट देयर. तो अगर नेम है ही नहीं तो ऑब्वियसली देयर इज वन पॉसिबिलिटी कि वहां पर शी से स्टार्ट हो सकता है. अदरवाइज इन 90% केसेस शी से पहले हमें क्या चाहिए होता है? एक नाउन या कोई सब्जेक्ट चाहिए होता है. राइट. नाउ time tense technique. This is again something very important, and in many cases I have seen this technique. All right. So now what is time tense technique? If in para jumble question 4 sentences are given or maybe 5, and 2 sentences are of past tense and 3 sentences are of present tense. So obviously आप past को पहले लिखेंगे और present को बाद में लिखेंगे. It means 2 sentences of past tense will come together and 3 sentences of present tense will come together. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता that past है present है until there is any contrasting word. Contrasting word है तो शायद एक हो सकता है, एक चांस हो सकता है वहां पर, but generally ऐसा होता नहीं है. Acronym. Now what is acronym? Another word for acronym can be abbreviation. If I say CAT, so CAT is the acronym of Common Admission Test. If in one sentence CAT is given, in another sentence its complete name is given, Common Admission Test. So in any case this sentence cannot come before this sentence. Why? Because this is a full name and this is the acronym. So acronym हमेशा किसके बाद आएगा? Full name के बाद ही आता है. और यही केस हमारा होता है किस तरह से? Suppose if I say Rahul Dravid, right? In one sentence Rahul Dravid is given, In another sentence, only Dravid is given. So again, this again becomes the case of complete name and partial name. तो partial name हमेशा किसके बाद आएगा? Complete name के बाद आएगा. So this is how also you can make the sequence. I hope all these techniques are clear to you, but we are not done with all the techniques of Para Jumble. We have done only 6 techniques over here, and remaining techniques I will teach you in the upcoming video. All right. So now let us practice some questions. So here is a question. Let us see which techniques are going to work over here. However, much of that wealth was lost during the exploitative British rule. However, despite the substantial progress, it still suffers from poverty, illiteracy, malnutrition, and corruption. Again, the word despite is given over here. India was identified with its commercial wealth for much of its long history. Economic reforms have transformed it into the second fastest growing large economy. Since independence, India has been strengthening its economy once again. So अब आप इसमें हम eliminate करते हैं which cannot be my opening statement. However, it needs some sentence before it. It cannot be the first statement. So is the case with despite. Despite का मतलब है contrast. Some sentence must be there. Now, starting can be with either C. And economic reforms have transformed it. It stands for what? Again, it's a personal pronoun. If it's a personal pronoun, I need something before it. It cannot be my first statement. E. Since independence, India has been strengthening its economy once again. तो या तो मेरा beginning यहाँ पर C से हो सकता है या हमारा beginning यहाँ पर E से हो सकता है. But let us check it out. Now, as you can see in this sentence, was is given, and in this sentence has is given. It means this is present tense and this is past tense, right? So now here also it is past tense. This is suffers present tense, have present tense and has present tense. Just अभी मैंने आपको थोड़ी देर पहले बोला था, if in any para jumble question 2 time sequence are given, it means one is past and second is present. तो हम past को एक साथ रखेंगे और present को हम एक साथ रखेंगे. So I can start this sentence with C. Okay, as I can start this sentence with C. अब easily क्योंकि आपको यहाँ पर options दिए हुए गए थे, तो आपको easily समझ में आ जाएगा कि ये हमारा sequence है. But then how we have reached to this sequence, let us check it out. So C is going to be my first statement. Now this is past tense and this is also past tense. These 3 are present. So I cannot keep this sentence in the midst of the present tense. तो इन दोनों sentence को मुझे साथ में ही लेना पड़ेगा. तो after C, it is going to be A. Clear? Now, here you can see, despite this substantial progress, and this is present tense. Present tense means I need to have a present tense before this word despite, right? So out of these 2 sentences, after CA, either it should be E or it should be D. But because it is given over here and it stands for what? It here stands for economy, right? So since independence, India has been strengthening its economy, right? So obviously it is going to come after CA, it is going to be E. Now if it has been strengthening, so what is the repercussion of that? Economic reforms have transformed it into the second fastest growing large economy, right? So after E, it is going to be D. And because again despite word is given which shows the contrast, and this sentence is written in contrast to D. So C, A, E, D and B is going to be the right sequence which is given over here. So यहाँ पर हमारी 2 techniques काम आई है. First is personal pronoun and second is past and present. Okay, now this is a second practice question. The discovery of X-rays by Wilhelm Röntgen in 1895 revolutionized medical diagnostics, allowing physicians to see inside the human body without invasive procedures, something previously deemed impossible. मुझे इस सेंटेंस में ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं लग रहा है जिस वजह से मैं इसको एलिमिनेट कर सकूं in order to reach to the opening statement. So I'm going to keep it aside as of now to consider it as the introductory statement. Building on this discovery, now this is given, all right? If this is given, it cannot be my opening statement. Building on this discovery, early 20th century scientists experimented with various forms of radiation therapy for treating cancer and other ailments. However, contrasting word, it cannot be my opening statement. It wasn't until advancements in imaging technologies like MRI and CT scans in the latter part of the 20th century that medical diagnostics reached unprecedented levels of precision. Before Röntgen's groundbreaking discovery, physicians relied solely on external examination and rudimentary surgical procedures to diagnose internal health issues. ये जो para jumble है, it is so beautifully written, and trust me, when we are going to rearrange all these sentences, flow is going to be very neat and clean. All right, now you see, two strategies are going to work over here. Wilhelm Röntgen, right? And this is only the partial name. So it's very, very understood that if partial name is given and the complete name is given, complete name will come before the partial name. So the A and D makes a pair, right? Now, building on this discovery, early 20th century. Now, early 20th century, it means what? Before 1950. 1950, it can be 1920, 1925. And here it is given latter part of the 20th century. Latter part of the 20th century, it means what? Maybe 1980, 1985, all right? So obviously this time will come before. So again, B and C makes a pair. Now I have got two pairs very beautifully. One on the basis of complete and partial name, and second on the basis of chronology technique, right? Now I just have to see whether it should be ADBC or it should be BCAD. Now, if I start the sentence with A, obviously there is no such thing on the basis of which I can eliminate it, all right, not to keep it as an opening statement. And if I see B, in B, obviously this is given and this cannot be my opening statement. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि मैं definitely A से start कर सकती हूँ, right? So A and D was my mandatory pair, BC was my mandatory pair. I am going to place them together. So the entire sequence will be AD and BC. So don't you think it was very easy? It was easy peasy to ace such kind of questions. Yes, indeed it was, and it actually worked because of the para jumbles techniques. So if you are going to follow all these techniques, trust me, you are going to ace it very speedily and accurately. And together we make it happen for sure. Thank you so much for watching this video.